We are Global Opportunities, a Canadian immigration firm based in Toronto, Canada. We will start in 1 minute. This live stream will be led by Mildred Gutierrez, who has more than 11 years of experience practicing Canadian immigration law. She also holds all the necessary licenses to advise individuals who want to immigrate to any part of Canada, including the province of Saskatchewan. Throughout her career, she has delivered seminars at various well-known institutions across Latin America and around the world. We have had the honor of bringing our knowledge to countries such as Peru, Chile, Costa Rica, among others. Also, we have conducted seminars focused on a wide range of professions, including engineers, architects, accountants, healthcare workers, and education professionals. Thank you for being here. We are ready to begin.
Thank you and welcome to everyone. My name is Luis Garnica. I'm the head of marketing of Global Opportunities. We are an immigration and Canadian immigration firm located and based in Toronto, Canada. Thank you for everyone to be here. We have today Mildred Gutierrez, who is the person that you are going to be dealing with if you want to do the immigration process with Global Opportunities. She is an immigration consultant. She's licensed for all the provinces and territories in Canada. We are not licensed, we don't practice for Quebec province, but we practice for the rest of the provinces and the rest of the territories. I'm gonna pass the microphone to her so she can tell us everything about the planning about the immigration to Canada in this 2026. I think there are many things that are gonna be changing and many things that you need to be aware of. I'm going to pass the microphone to her, and then I'm going to be at the end with you guys also. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mildred Gutierrez, and today we are going to talk about what we are expecting for 2026. This is based on an ebook that you can check out on our website, and it has the full information. This is just a summary of it. We're going to be talking about what to expect, but if you want to go in detail for everything, then of course we invite you to check the article in regards to this information, and of course the ebook, which is on our website. So to get started with these, over the last year, I have heard, and I think everybody that's planning to immigrate to Canada, we have heard repeatedly over and over again that Canada is closing on immigration, which is not true. Today, we want to be very clear about that from the start. Canada did not close immigration. What Canada did was reorganize its immigration system, and understanding that difference is critical if you are planning to immigrate 2026, right? So like I said, this presentation is going to be based on our ebook, which is Immigration to Canada 2026, Context, Strategy, and Planning. And this is to help you understand what is really happening in the Canadian immigration system, why so many strategies that worked in the past are no longer working, and how to plan responsibly moving forward. So this is not about discouraging immigration, it's about replacing improvisation with information. So that's what we want to go in detail with that ebook, right? So in order to understand that and where Canada is going 2026 and maybe even further 2027, we first need to understand what happened between 2020 and 2023. During this period, Canada experienced a rapid and unprecedented increase in temporary residents. This included, of course, international students, temporary foreign workers, and visitors who later applied for different statuses. So at the same time, there was a significant rise in humanitarian and refugee claims, right? So this increase, we have to think about it. And this happened while Canada was still recovering from pandemic related disruptions, right? So this created pressure. This, it was a little bit of chaos for, I mean, every country had its ups and downs with the pandemic and how they responded to it. So it's just part of it, and how it's still, taking a toll on it, and, how it's like that effect from it. So we just, want to go in detail into that within the ebook. Like I said, this is just a summary. So when that started happening, of course, that created certain issues. The housing availability became extremely limited in many cities. The health care systems, of course, face shortages and long wait times. And another issue that we're still going through is administrative processing within immigration authorities, because it's slowed under the weight of higher volumes of applications. So also another thing is that in this case, the settlement and integration services have to be, checked and maybe start getting things better processed, and try to move it around so that it actually helps to settle and integrate many people that are already here, that have already worked, that have already done things the proper way. So, but a lot of things happen, and these pressures could not be sustained indefinitely, right? So in order to not impact who is already here and Canadians and everybody, right? So it has to come with changes in this case. So this also happened because a lot of misuse in this case. There were documented cases, and you can see them in, they were in news outlets, and for many cases. In this case, it was a documented case of misuse of study permits, specifically in job offers. Some applicants entered programs with no real academic or professional progression, hoping to fix the status later, right? And in this case, and this, of course, these realities create a capacity problem. It's not a rejection of immigration, but a problem of scale, right? So we have to understand that also a lot of people just came in and said, okay, I'm studying, but then as soon as they had Canada, they didn't actually study, or they didn't actually respect the permits that they had, right? So of course, this puts a strain in a system that was already in need of reorganization, right? So the Canadian government's response to that, and this has happened before. This is not like the first time. This is not something that is new to Canada. Usually when there's an issue, when something happens and there needs to be a change, the change can be drastic. It could be from one day to the other. Sometimes they close programs and they open up programs, and it's always been like that with Canadian immigration, right? So all of a sudden they're going to impose a visa, or they're going to lift a visa, right? So in this case, Canada's response was not ideological. It's not anti-immigration in this case. The policies were just adjusted to better align with infrastructure, with services, and labor market needs. So this is the context that is going to define immigration towards 2026, right? So there has to be a reduction in the system abuse. They have to prioritize sustainability and integration of those who are already in Canada. And that is what they are trying to do. Of course, it's always better for some and not so good for others. But then again, this always happens every year. There's changes within the Canadian immigration process and programs and whatnot. So it's not so unusual in this case, right? So, but the most important thing is to shift, right? And improvisation and make sure that you have a viable strategy. So for many years, people believed, and this is maybe, I don't know, because they also see it in other countries, and this is how usually people try to go, because you're trying to find a way to do things quickly, and the quicker the better. So not necessarily. So for many years, people believe that entering Canada was the hardest step, and then once here, that everything else can be figured out, and that really is not something that happens. And It hasn't happened in a while, but then again, just the government wanting to make sure that this logic no longer applies, and they want to make sure that whoever's coming in is going to respect the, especially for temporary residents, they're going to respect the terms of their permits or their visas in this case, right? So this is just something that is better to be prepared for rather than just try to, do things as you go, because of course you are the one who's going to be left with no options, right? So what no longer works in this case, and is that specifically, right? Entering Canada without a clear path, it can lead to refusals or loss of status or just wasted time and money in this case, right? So relying on a study permit without understanding its implications in this case, or assuming any job will lead to permanent residence, that's something that not necessarily. There's been also changes that had already happened in regards to job offers no longer getting points for permanent residence applications, and a lot of changes that have happened with the work permits as well in this case. So that's one thing. And waiting until after arrival to start the language preparation, that of course is not going to get you anywhere. You have to be realistic, and you have to know that in order to apply, especially for permanent residence, the language comes before, not after, right? So I would suggest that we have done past lives or seminars, either in English or in Spanish, and you can go back to our website and see the past events, or you can go to our YouTube website. And we talked about that because, especially with language, a lot of people think that they can only learn until they're here, and that doesn't happen, not always. Of course, for some people, yes, but since the permits right now, especially for languages or for certain type of programs that are not in this case, not the main focus for the study permits, I would definitely recommend, if you're planning to become a permanent resident, or if you want to come permanently to Canada, specifically for that part, make sure that you understand what you're doing and how to prepare before getting here, because that's what's going to get you in, right? So in this case, what you do need to work out and make sure that you are looking ahead for 2026 is that you need to understand which pathway fits your profile, not the friend, not whoever did something like 10, 15 years ago, or maybe the person that studied the same thing as me, or somebody that had an experience. No. You want to understand which pathway fits your profile specifically, or the needs of your family, especially if you are immigrating with family in this case, right? Preparing the language skills in advance, that is always something that will be preparing you for a positive outcome. In this case, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily want to work on that, or think that, I'm going to get there, and then once I'm there, then I'm going to start doing all that. But it doesn't work like that, because a lot of people that come, and especially as tourists, and then when they're here, financially, it starts to, be not as you thought, and you start spending money, and the money is just going and going, but you notice that you're not going to move forward directly to a job offer, and you're not going to move directly for a permanent residence, especially if you don't have the language skills for that, right? And that's something that you want to make sure that you are able to start working on. And it does require work, right? It does require for you to sit and know what the levels of English or French you specifically need. Because one thing is to know about the levels that are like the minimum requirements, which for some people might work out because they have a great profile, but not necessarily. Maybe your age or things, and so we have to move it around. So one thing is the minimum requirements. One thing is what what you can see on the website for RRCC, but another thing is what your profile needs. So I think that would be the best place to start, right? On making sure that also whatever you're doing is aligning with education and work experience, right? That's also something that you must take into consideration. And especially if you're coming to study, or if you're going to come do a master's degree or a postgraduate, and you want to make sure that those are valid, but you also want to make sure that you're choosing the province strategically, right? Because also it happens with job offers. A lot of people think that once they get the job offer, that's it. Right. Well, yeah. What if you get a job offer in Toronto? You're 55. Yes, you're working. Yes, it's a professional job. Yes, the position qualifies. Yes, you have an excellent annual income. But unfortunately, nothing's going to happen, because in provinces like Ontario, you no longer qualify. So what can you do? So, right, make sure that you are thinking about that and accepting the realistic timelines, making sure that if you're going to put the effort in immigrating, yeah, you have to be realistic with timelines. There's programs that might open or close in specific deadlines, or because of age, you have a specific deadline. And cost, of course, right? So in this case, you want to make sure that your profile works, and how to prepare it, and how to move forward with it. So immigration it's not going to be a shortcut. It is a long-term project. And I'm not talking long-term in many years, because the good thing about the Canadian system is that once you're in, once you have a right profile, once you have the right documentation and everything, then it could be a smooth transition. And there's programs that do have very fast-paced processing, like, for example, the federal programs with an express entry. And talking about express entry and federal programs and whatnot, permanent residence, of course, is evolving. And in this case, they are going to prioritize targeted selections rather than just the generalized access. Of course, they're going to focus on specific sectors, provincial needs, and language abilities. So you want to be aware of that and how it's working out, because sometimes you could be eligible this year, maybe next one you can't. We've had closures like the category for transportation, and then eventually they close and they open up the education one. And with the STEM category, the positions have changed, or the occupations in demand have changed. So, you want to be sure that how is it going to work out for you, right? Is specifically. So, you might be in an occupation in demand, you might not be. That doesn't mean you can't apply for other things, but you have to make sure what's going to work for you. The provinces are going to play a big role because, and I'm talking about considering smaller provinces, not in the, geographically, because of course Canada is quite big, and the provinces, of course, it's not like it's going to be a small place. It just means like smaller in population usually. But they're more open to have their own provincial programs that you can apply for. The regional programs, like the rural or a pilot program, or the Atlantic one, or it really depends. Each province has different aspects that they're looking for. Some of them are going to prioritize certain occupations. Others are going to prioritize people that are already there, transitioning to postgraduate work permits. And there will be others that will be focusing, of course, as well, on people that are outside Canada. And there's so many things, because each province has its own programs. But then again, language has become structural, right? English remains essential because that is the main language, but French has emerged as a significant advantage because there's a specific category for French, and most programs will give you more points for French. So I'll make sure, if you want to look into that, of course, now's a good time. Or if you've had French, or before you speak French, and this is something that you want to take into consideration, this is the year for it, right? So Like I said, this is just a very brief summary of it. I just want to make sure that if you're planning from abroad, language education, professional alignment must be developed before applying, not after. And if you want to go into our ebook, there's the topics in detail. You don't have to read the entire thing because it's quite lengthy, but if you're interested in specifically study permits or work permits or permanent residence, you want to go into that specific section. You don't have to read the whole thing to understand it. It's based in different sections. It also talks about for example, the family applications, such as a parent and grandparent sponsorship, which it's deemed to be closed this year as well. It doesn't seem that it's going to reopen anytime soon. What can you do? What can you expect? And trying to be ready if anything happens with it. And so many things that are there. Like I said, this is just like a very brief summary. If you want to explore in detail, you can either go into our website or send us a direct message, so we can send you the link for it, and you can take your time and dive into it. But of course, you want to make sure that you're going to be working in your application gradually with a clear understanding of the system, and that you are going to do it in advance, like plan ahead. That's a big thing. And it's always a good thing in Canadian immigration. Like I said, immigrating to Canada in 2026, it is possible. It's just a different type of organization. That's it. It did not close the doors. It just reorganized its system, and that reorganization requires something from applicants as well, right? You having the context, making sure that you are ready with a strategy and planning towards that goal, right? So if you want to understand the system before making decisions, we invite you to download or read the ebook. Like I said, it's available on our website. And of course, if you want to check out our different lives, we are going to have different lives throughout the weeks. Of course, some of are going to be just immigration related. Some of them are going to be more into other things, like maybe how does the healthcare system work and what's happening right now with healthcare system, or different topics that you might see. You want to go to our website and check out the events page, and you will see them there. And of course, if you want to check past seminars or something related to your specific country, you can go either on YouTube. We have a set of playlists and videos that we've had with seminars and different institutions like universities or specific colleges. Like it works differently for different countries, like for physicians or for nurses or for pharmacists, but you can dive into the information there. So thank you very much for being here. Hopefully this ebook is going to bring you a better understanding. And if you're planning to immigrate to Canada, we're happy to guide you through the entire immigration process and get to know your profile. So drop us an email. There's the information and all our social media. So hopefully you have a good rest of the week. I'll see you if you're going to have an assessment, or we will see you again in another live or seminar if you want to sign up for that. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Mildred, and I will leave you with Luis again. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mildred, for the information. It's funny, but today someone says, "Oh, can you say everything and talk in Spanish?" We have several lives in Spanish during the week. Monday, Wednesday, 11:30, I have one. Monday at 5 p.m., Mildred has also one, 5 p.m., usually 5:30 on Monday. And Fridays, we have these ones in English for people that are not Spanish speakers. So thank you for the information, Mildred. As we already know, there are many changes still there are going to be a lot of changes later on in 2026. So be prepared for these changes. Try to have your evaluation, try to have your consultation with someone that has the license and the experience, which is, for example, Mildred, and try to also plan, have some planning regarding your immigration process, because it takes time. Remember, it takes time, like around 6 months or 1 year or 2 years. So everything is about planning. So it is good for you to know about all the changes and also the processes. As Mildred was saying, there is an ebook also in Spanish or in English about these processes, about these immigration processes. So you can just see it in our website or download it. If you want to have it also, you can contact us, and I'm going to send it to you by email or by WhatsApp anyway. This is our email, info@globalopp.ca. Remember, we have several seminars. Yesterday, we were in Guatemala. Last week, we were in Colombia. Next week, we're going to be in Bolivia. So hopefully, you can be with us in any of our seminars. Thank you very much for being with us and for listening to Mildred. Hopefully, this information is going to help you to find the way, and hopefully we can also help you in your immigration process. My name is Luis Garnica. I'm the head of marketing for Global Opportunities, and I'll see you next time, Monday. Thank you. Bye now.